Let us now start with instructions. As we have seen, a program as a collection of instructions. Whenever we write a C program, it will have different types of instructions. The basic classification of instructions is done as follows. We have four different types of instructions in C language. The first instruction is declaration instructions. As the name itself says, declaration instructions means you are supposed to declare something in that particular instruction. Now, what is that something? For example, if I am going to use a variable by name A, this A can store any type of data. But ultimately, if I have to make this particular variable A to store a specific type of data, we're going to have a variable with a keyword as int. When I complete that instruction, we'll have that as a declaration instruction. The second set of instructions are arithmetic instructions. Whenever we do a program will have a collection of various arithmetic operations, various relational operations, various conditions. The conditions we are going to design using these arithmetic instructions. An arithmetic instruction can be as simple as addition of two numbers, or it can be a very large condition using various mathematical and relational operators. The relational operators, the logical operators, all will be used to form these type of instructions. The third set of instructions is data input output instruction. When I say data input output, as the name itself says that you are going to have some data input given from the user and a data output which is given back to the user. When I say data input, we are going to read value from the user and store into memory. We are going to do this instruction using an instruction called as scanf. And when I ask you to display values, when I ask you to print some results, when I ask you to display some messages, we're going to have a data output which will be carried out using an instruction called as printf instructions. So a fundamental program will have all these three types of instructions: declaration instruction, arithmetic instructions, and data output, input output instructions. Now these instructions are again used to repeat. A C program can have a set of instructions being repeated. Now these repetitions can be carried out using the control instructions. Now normally when I write a C program, you'll have a sequence of execution one by one. If I had to change this particular sequence, we're going to have an instruction identified as control instruction. Basically, when you are trying programs using simple C language, in the initial days, you'll not have any stuff called as control instruction. We'll have control instructions which are used to build some high-end and logical based programs. So let us first start with one type of instruction, that is declaration instruction. Now, as I've described, what exactly is a declaration instruction? An instruction which is used to declare a variable, we call it as a declaration instruction. So you can have any type of variable and you can frame an instruction with a data type along with a keyword. Now let's see how the syntax of declaration instruction goes. Suppose if I had to define a variable by name A, that's A. Now at this point of time, A doesn't have any specific type of data. A is a generalized variable. Now this A can be associated with the data by using a keyword called as int. And when I place a semicolon, it will complete the first type of instruction. Now this is our first instruction of C language, which says a keyword int followed by space and then variable A. Now if I write the syntax of this, the syntax of declaration instruction goes as data type. You can have variable, comma. If you have multiple variables, you can keep on adding variable 2. You can name the first one as variable 1 and so on. And finally, you're supposed to place a semicolon. A semicolon is used to identify the end of an instruction. Now when I say int A, this variable by name A is now ready to store values of type integer. Now when I say variable, a variable will be allocated memory. A variable A, which is of type integer, will be allocated with 2 bytes of memory. Suppose if I wish to define two variables of type integer, say A and B. Now there are two ways to do this. One, I can define int A and I can use one more variable named int B. Or I can do it on a single line by saying int a comma b and a semicolon, which means that both a and b are variables of type integer. If two variables are going to share the same data type, in that case you can define them on a single line. So here each of these instructions will get 2 bytes each. So 2 for a and 2 for b. The number which I'm writing in brackets indicate the memory size of that particular variable. Suppose if I have to define a variable m of type float, which is used to store fractional values, in that case I can use a keyword called as float, and I can associate a variable by name m at this place. Now when I say m, this m will have some storage space. The storage space as per the concepts of C language is 4 bytes. What if I had to store character values? Not necessarily that always the input comes as integer or fraction values. The input might go as fraction values. If the input goes as fraction values, in that case we're going to use a keyword called as char. Let me say a variable by name ch used to store this. Now this character variable ch is going to consume 1 byte of memory. So if you observe, I'd use the keywords int, I'd use the keyword float, I'd use the keyword char, which is used to store different types of data. When I say int, it will have some specific data limits. For example, if I say a variable of type integer, this will have a value as small as -32768 or as large as 32,767. If a variable need to be declared to store values beyond this, in that case I can use a data modifier called as long. We can use this data modifier in this fashion. I'll say long space int space say p. Now long modifier says that this particular p is going to be identified as a variable of type long integer, which means that we can store very large values. Now what will be the size of that particular large value? If I calculate the number of bytes, this would be 4 bytes. Now 4 bytes is 32 bits. 32 bits minus 1 is 31. So you can store a number as large as 2 raised to 31 or as small as -2 raised to 31. Now not necessarily always it has to be long int p. You can modify this instruction as even long p. By default, the data type with this particular int keyword is always long. So I have specified instructions like int, float, char, long. What if I'm supposed to store only positive values in a variable? In that case, we can use a keyword called as unsigned. Let me write an instruction for indicating that. I'll say unsigned space int space say m. Now in this case, unsigned is a data modifier, int is a data type, and m is a variable which is store only positive values. If m gets a negative value, it will deny to store that particular value because m has been declared of type unsigned. What if I had to store very large positive values? In that case, I can go for a data modifier called as long preceded by unsigned space long space say m. Unsigned long m. Now if I ask you to write the size of this, int m will consume 2 bytes. Unsigned long will also consume 4 bytes. A normal integer is also 4 bytes. So unsigned long int. If I write a long integer variable, this will consume 4 bytes, whereas unsigned long will also have 4 bytes. The only difference between long and unsigned long is that long can store both positive as well as negative values, whereas unsigned long will have only positive values. So we have seen the data modifier long, we have seen the data modifier unsigned at this place. But not necessarily always a fractional variable will be float type. What if a variable is supposed to have large fractional values? If a variable need to store very large fraction values, never try to associate a long keyword with float. That will be an error. Hence what we do is we go for a new keyword called as double. Suppose if I say double P, it means that now I can store very large positive values of type fractional. Float will also store fractional values, double will also store fractional values, but double will store very large fraction values. So if you ask me the size of this variable is 8 bytes. So float and double are going to store fraction values or real values, floating point values. So unsigned, long and int, they are very large or normal integer values. What if you say that I'm supposed to store a very large to large fraction values? Can I use a modifier with double? Yes, you can go with the data modifier called as long double. Let me say P. Now how a normal variable double P differentiates with long double P? A double P will have 8 bytes, which will store values approximately around 10 raised to somewhere around 301. If I had to store values beyond this, 10 to the power of somewhere around 1000 odd values, in that case I can go for long double P. But in this case, the size never gets doubled. Float to double, it will double the size from 4 bytes to 8 bytes. But when it comes to double to long double, it will not increase or double the size. The size at this place is going to be somewhere around 10 bytes. This is the maximum size of a variable. If you feel that the numbers are beyond this particular range, you will have to change the language. You can't stick to this particular C language. So to summarize this entire part, we have declares instruction, which will declare a data type for a variable. The basic data types which we're going to use for our declarations are int, float, char, double. These are called as basic data types. Whereas unsigned, long, short, which is by default a keyword, these are all called as data modifiers or extended data types. If I had to store values which are only positive, associate an unsigned keyword. The default data type with unsigned or long is always int. The last instruction which I wrote, long double P, which is a 10 bytes. Don't feel that if I say long P, it will still work. Because if I say long P, the default data type in that case is integer. So if I just say long P, internally it will be added as, or it will be summarized as long int P. So whenever you want to store very large fraction values, use a long double or just a double value. So this is with integer, float, character. What if I had to store strings, which is an input in response to a question, say your name, your college name, your address. So in that case, what I'll do is I'll define character data type char followed by a variable with an approximate size of your choice within these square brackets. So I'll say char a of 10. Now, how different this instruction is with char a? When I say char a, this instruction will store only one character. But if the set of characters are supposed to be stored, in that case I can say char a of 10, which means that this character will have a storage space of total 10 characters. You can store a string as large as 10. If you feel that your string is beyond 10 characters, you can go for char a of 20, char a of 50, char a of 30 or any size of your choice. So do remember that the basic data types are int, float, char and double. Your data modifiers are unsigned, long, short, which we never use, but by default everywhere will be short itself. And if I'm supposed to associate the data type int, then it is the only default data type with long. By default, long is associated with int. Never associate a keyword long with either float or char. Thank you.